Hello everyone, and welcome again to Daily Grace with Pastor James. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. This episode we're going to talk about relationship. We're going to talk about the fears that ruin relationship. Relationships are meant to be sweet. Relationships are meant to be something that we are happy when we are inside it. But there are certain fears that ruin the relationship. And today we're going to be looking at those fears that ruin the relationship. Relationships are the hearts of every effective union that you can think about in the world. Relationship with your spouse, relationship with your families, relationship with colleagues in the office, relationship with even people in the church, relationship in your community. These are relationships. And relationships, you cannot relate very well if you don't have a good relationship. You cannot relate very well if you are having fears. And those fears are the ones that damage our relationship. Now, let us look at 3 fears that damage relationship. 3 fears that damage relationship. The first fear that damage relationship is the fear of admitting our faults. Does that sound familiar to you? Fear of admitting our fault. There's a very good example in the Bible. If we go to Genesis 3, from 11b to 13, we have a wonderful conversation between God and his creation. And it goes like this. God asks, "Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat?" Adam answered, "The woman whom you gave to me, she gave me of the tree and I ate." Passing the buck. And then the Lord turned to the woman and said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" Listen to the woman's response. "The serpent deceived me and I ate." Now, this is the way we go around. When there is any fault, when there is any mistake, it is either we want to accuse somebody else or we want to excuse ourselves. And we see this every day in our relationships. When there is a fault, when there is a failure, you either want to accuse somebody else or you want to excuse yourself from the fault. Now, ask yourself this question. What fault do I get defensive about? What fault do you get defensive about when it gets mentioned? Listen, instead of getting defensive and making excuses for your fault, just confess them. Just go ahead and confess them. The second fear is the fear of expressing our feelings. So many people want to bottle up their feelings. Sometimes we use distance as a tool. I used to use that tool in those days when I just got married. And when there is issues, all I just need to do is to just walk out of the house to say, I want to take a walk, I want to take a fresh air, but that is not the solution. All you are doing at that point is you are just sweeping these things under the carpet. When things get emotional, we find it easier just to withdraw. But you shouldn't. Instead, you need to learn how to express your feelings. You need to learn how to express your feelings in order to become the authentic man that God has created you to be, or the authentic woman that God has created you to be. Now, there are 2 kinds of emotions that we exhibit: hurt and anger. Hurt feelings. We hate to admit when somebody hurts us. Why? Because we feel it makes us vulnerable. It makes us exposed that, oh, you are always getting angry. But that is not the issue. Because when you keep doing that, it will turn from hurt to resentment, resentment to anger and bitterness. And the Bible clearly tells us that bitterness is not good. Hebrews 12 verse 15. The second feeling is anger. Angry feeling. Many people don't know how to deal with anger. If you have not watched the last episode, the previous episode before this, go and watch it, because we talked about dealing with anger. A lot of people don't know how to deal with anger. You need to deal with your anger. You need to be angry, but be angry appropriately. That is what we said, because Jesus Christ himself got angry while he was on earth with us. It's only that it was an appropriate anger and then an appropriate action that was taken. Don't run away. And the third fear is the fear of losing control. When we feel like we are losing control, we often demand we get our own ways and have the last word in our relationship. But that is not the way it's meant to be. This kind of last word is just showing your insecurity in your relationship. You are only just being insecure, and that is exactly what we saw in the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve destroyed that perfect relationship that was created by God through just a little mistrust. If we want to sum up all that we have been talking about, it boils down to two words: power struggle. Majority of us just wants to be on top. When that happens, and the other person is doing the same thing, you have two insecure people, and that ruins the relationship. So what is the solution to this? What is the solution to this? A, be honest with yourself. Proverbs 20 verse 27 says, "The spirit of a man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all the inner depths of his heart." The Lord has given us the mind and the conscience that we cannot hide from. Be honest to yourself. You need to face up to your fears. What fears are you having now? What fears are you hiding? Take a hard look at your fears and admit them to yourself. The second thing is be honest with God. 1 John 4:18 says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear involves torment. But he who fears has not even made perfect in love." When there is love, there shouldn't be any fear. There shouldn't be any fear. And then the third thing is be honest in your relationship. Revealing your feelings is the beginning of your healing. James 5 verse 16 tells us, it says, "Confess your trespasses to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The effective fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much." If you are in a struggling relationship, I encourage you to connect with the person this week. But before you meet, just prepare a list of your faults. Come with the spirit of reconciliation and love, saying to the person, "Let's make things better." I'm sure the person will listen to you. Your relationship is what God has created. It can be as good as you want it to be. It can be as wonderful as you want it to be. The choice is yours. It all depends on how truthful you are willing to be with yourself, with God, and with others. Thank you so much for listening to me. God bless you. My name is Pastor James Egodibie, and I pastor RCCG Solid Rock Parish, Derby. If this message has blessed you, please don't hesitate to share it with others so that they can enjoy it. I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.